The night was quiet on the edge of Sector 7, a cold and lonely part of planet Earth. Only one man lived there, Jack, a human engineer. He worked alone in a small outpost, fixing broken machines and watching the stars. He liked the silence. But that night, something changed. The sky turned bright like fire. A loud boom shook the ground. Jack ran outside. Something was falling from the sky, fast and burning, a spaceship. It crashed not far from his station. The shockwave knocked Jack to the ground. Smoke filled the air. The trees burned. He grabbed his flashlight and ran toward the crash. He didn't know what he would find. The wreck was big and broken. Sharp metal was everywhere. The fire made crackling sounds. A strange smell filled the air, not fire, not oil. Something alien. Jack walked slowly, careful not to step on anything sharp. Then he heard it. A low growl. He turned quickly. A figure was crawling from the wreck, not human. She had silver skin, long claws, and glowing yellow eyes. Blood ran down her arm. Her face was full of pain and anger. Jack froze. The alien girl looked at him. She tried to stand but fell. She was badly hurt. She hissed like a wild animal and raised one claw. Jack dropped his flashlight and raised his hands. "I'm not here to fight," he said softly. "I can help you." But she didn't understand his words. She only saw a strange male figure in a world not her own. Her people taught her to fear humans, dangerous, violent, unkind. She tried to crawl away, but her leg was badly injured. She cried out. Jack slowly moved closer. "It's okay," he said again. He took off his jacket and knelt beside her. Alien girl tried to slash him. The claw missed his face by inches. Still, Jack didn't move away. "You're hurt," he said. "You need help." She looked at him again. Why wasn't he fighting? Why wasn't he running? Then everything went black. When she woke up, she was inside a small room with metal walls. There were lights above her, soft and warm. A machine beeped slowly. Her arm was bandaged. Her leg had something tight around it, a brace. She sat up quickly and growled. Jack, sitting in a chair across the room, stood up fast. "You're awake," he said. The alien girl looked around like a cornered animal. She saw tools on the wall. She grabbed one, a sharp knife. Jack didn't move. "Please," he said. "No fight." She didn't speak. She pointed the knife at him, breathing fast. He raised his hands. "You were hurt. I fixed your wound. That's all." She narrowed her eyes. Her body shook. She was weak. But still, she held the knife. Jack slowly picked up a bottle of water and walked toward her, very slow, step by step. He placed the bottle on the table near her. "Drink," he said. "You need water." She watched him like a cat watches a snake. She didn't trust him. "Not yet." Jack stepped back and sat down again. For a long moment, no one moved. The room was silent. Finally, she looked at the bottle. She reached out, took it, and drank. Jack smiled just a little. "Good," he said. The alien girl still held the knife. But her eyes were softer now. That night, Jack watched her sleep. She was strong, even when wounded. Fierce, like a wild creature. But also alone. Just like him. He didn't know her name. He didn't know where she came from. But he knew one thing. She wasn't just an alien. She was lost, scared, and maybe, just maybe, she needed a friend. Outside the window, the wreck of her ship still burned. Smoke rose into the stars. But inside the outpost, something strange had started. Not a war, but a beginning. Asterisk. The knife was cold in her hand. She stood over Jack's bed, her silver skin glowing under the soft light. He was sleeping, breathing slow and deep. One move, one strike, and she could end him. Her kind would call it justice. Her training would call it survival. But she didn't move. She watched him. This human, he had every chance to harm her, to leave her bleeding in the dirt. But he didn't. He brought her into his shelter. He fixed her wounds. He gave her food. And water. And now he slept without fear beside her. Why? Her grip on the knife loosened. A soft beep from the machine nearby reminded her of her broken leg. The brace Jack had made held her bones in place. His tools were strange, but they worked. She couldn't walk without pain, and even if she could, where would she go? She looked down at the sleeping human again. Jack stirred and opened his eyes slowly. He saw her saw the knife and didn't panic. His eyes were calm, his voice low. "You're okay," he said. "You don't have to fight." The alien girl didn't answer. She just stood there, staring at him. Then she lowered the knife and placed it on the table. Jack sat up. "Good," he said gently. "That's good." She stepped back and sat on the floor. Her leg throbbed. Her breathing was shaky. Jack stood slowly, walked over to a drawer, and brought her a blanket. She didn't take it at first. But after a moment, she reached out and pulled it over her shoulders. Silence returned. Jack returned to his bed, lying down again, but he didn't close his eyes. He looked at her and spoke softly. "I don't know your name. I don't know where you're from, but you're not my enemy." The alien girl tilted her head. His words were strange, but his tone was soft. "I'm Jack," he said, pointing to himself. "Jack," she repeated, her voice rough and unsure. He smiled. "Yes, Jack," she pointed to herself. For a second, she looked like she might not answer. Then, in a low voice, she said, "Zira." Jack nodded. Zyra. A name. That was the first step. Over the next few days, they stayed inside the outpost. Zira was still weak, but she watched Jack carefully. He cooked food, worked on machines, and fixed her brace when it got loose. He spoke simple words, pointed at things. She copied him. "Water," he said. "Water." She repeated. She learned quickly. Like a child, but sharper, faster. Jack showed her how to open a can, how to light a small fire. She was curious but quiet. She never laughed, never smiled. But her eyes followed him with growing interest. One night she sat beside him and asked in slow, broken English, "Why?" "Help me." Jack looked at her. The question caught him off guard. "Because," he said, "you were alone, hurt, scared." Zira looked down at her hands. Enemy to your people." Jack nodded slowly. "Maybe, but not to me." She didn't speak after that, but something changed in her eyes. The sharp anger was fading. Not gone, but softer. Jack didn't ask about her past. Not yet. But sometimes, Zira would sit alone and stare into the fire. Her claws curled tight, her face full of pain and memory. He knew that look. He'd seen it in the mirror on the 5th night. A strange light blinked on one of the alien tools Jack had recovered from the wreck. It made a faint beeping sound. Zira turned to it, her face going pale. Jack walked over. "What is it?" Zira stood up slowly. Her voice was quiet, but the fear in it was clear. "Signal," she said. "They find me." Jack's heart stopped. "Who?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said just one word. "Hunters." Outside, the wind howled across the dark hills. Inside, Zira stared at the blinking light, her hands shaking. The peaceful days were ending. Something terrible was coming, and Jack knew. He might be the only one standing between it and her. Zira stood at the edge of the window, watching the stars. She didn't blink. She didn't move. She had been standing there for hours. Behind her, Jack worked on the satellite dish, fixing the wires, but he kept glancing at her. Something had changed since that blinking signal appeared. She hadn't spoken much since. She was watching the sky like it was about to fall. That night, after Jack went to bed, Zira moved without a sound. She picked up a sharp tool from the table and walked toward him. She stood over Jack, just like before. Her fingers gripped the tool tight, but this time, her hand was shaking. She looked at his sleeping face. There was no fear on it, no hate. Just calm.zy. Iris slowly turned and put the tool back down. The war inside her didn't end. But she was tired of fighting. In the morning, Jack found her sitting near the heater, eyes open, still not sleeping. He sat beside her and offered her something wrapped in cloth. It was warm food, simple rice with vegetables. She took it. No words, but she ate beside him. Trust doesn't fall from the sky. It grows slowly, like a small fire in the cold. Day by day, Jack and Zira worked together. Jack showed her how to use human tools. He taught her how to open panels, connect wires, clean engine parts. Zira learned fast. She didn't waste time asking questions. She watched and remembered. One afternoon, Jack was fixing a power relay. It sparked and burned his hand. "Damn!" he shouted, pulling back. Before he could grab a cloth, Zira was already there. She pulled his hand gently, placed it in cool water, then wrapped it with a soft band from the medical box. Jack looked at her, surprised. "You learned that?" Zira nodded. "You fix me. I fix you." He smiled. "Teamwork." Zira blinked. "Teamwork?" Jack pointed at both of them. "You and me, together." She gave a small nod. "Teamwork." That was the first time she smiled. Only a little, only for a second. But it was real. That evening, Zira sat beside Jack at the fire pit outside. The stars were bright again. She held one of the human books in her hands. Jack had given it to her earlier, with simple pictures and words. She pointed to a small cat in the picture. "What is this?" Jack chuckled. "That's a kitten." Zira stared at it. "Soft, not like me." Jack looked at her. "You think you're not soft?" Zira shook her head. "I was trained to kill. Since I was 5. Jack said nothing. She continued. "My people used me like a weapon. Sent me to war. Then they left me behind." Jack looked at the fire. "Humans do that too, sometimes." Zira looked at him. "You are different." Jack raised his eyebrow. "How so?" "You don't fear me. You don't hate me, you help." Jack gave a small smile. "You don't act like a monster. Why should I treat you like one?" Zira went quiet. Then she said in a soft whisper, "I don't know who I am anymore." Jack looked at her for a long time. "Maybe you get to choose now." Before she could answer, the machine inside the station beeped again. Jack stood up and walked over. Zira followed. The signal was stronger now. The tracking beacon had changed color, glowing red. Zira's body tensed. "They are near." Jack checked the coordinates. A ship entered Earth orbit. Not one of ours. Zira backed away from the screen. Her claws came out. Jack turned to her. "Can they track you here?" She nodded. "Yes, my body has a mark, a code inside. They follow it." Jack stared at her. "Then we have to remove it." Zira looked shocked. "That could kill me." Jack looked her straight in the eyes. "And if we don't, they will." Zira hesitated. Then she did something Jack didn't expect. She reached out and took his hand. "Then do it," she said. "I trust you." Jack nodded. "Then let's begin." Far above them, in the cold dark of space, something moved. A black ship with red lights. Silent. Watching, coming closer. The stars blinked one by one, then vanished. Not because the night was dark, but because something was moving above them. Massive and silent, like a shadow with teeth. Jack didn't see it, but Zira did. She stepped outside the outpost and looked up. Her chest grew tight. A shape covered the sky, long, black, and deathly quiet. No lights, no engines, just a dark outline that blocked the moonlight. Her breath caught in her throat. They had found her. She ran back inside. Jack was in the middle of preparing the surgical kit, ready to remove the tracker from Zira's body. When she burst through the door, his heart jumped. "They are here," Zira said, voice low but sharp. Jack paused. "Here? You're sure?" Zira didn't answer. She simply pointed to the sky. Jack grabbed his scanner. It buzzed softly, then screamed. Unidentified object in orbit. Size Class 3 cruiser, it said. Zira sat down fast. We do it now. Cut it out. Cut the code. Jack looked at her. Zira, if I do this wrong, you won't, she said. Took a deep breath. Then he began. Zira bit down on a piece of leather and closed her eyes. The tracker was deep under her skin, near her spine. Jack used a laser scalpel. His hands shook, but only a little. Blood ran. Zira didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just stayed still, like a soldier waiting for a bullet. Minutes passed like hours. Then, click. The small silver tracker popped out. Jack dropped it into a metal box and sealed it tight. The scanner stopped screaming. Zira passed out. Outside, the cruiser slowly moved across the sky. It scanned the forest, the mountains, the rivers, but the signal was gone. The prey was missing. Inside the outpost, Jack stitched Zira's skin and cleaned the blood. She had fainted from pain and exhaustion. But she was breathing. Alive. When she finally woke up, her eyes opened slowly. Did it work? Jack smiled. They can't find you now. Zira looked up at him. You saved me, again, Jack shrugged. You're getting used to it. She gave a tiny smile, but the smile faded when the lights in the outpost went out. Total darkness. Jack stood up. No, the power was gone. Then came the sound, low and vibrating, like thunder under the earth. Zira grabbed his arm. They landed. Jack ran to the window and looked outside. A strange red light was pulsing in the forest. Trees moved, not from wind, but from something walking through them. Heavy, fast. He turned back to Zira. How many? She closed her eyes for a moment. If it's a Class 3, maybe 10. Maybe 20. All soldiers. Jack's face went pale. They'll kill us. Zira stood shaky but alert. No, they'll take me first. Make it slow. Jack grabbed his rifle. Then we don't let them. He opened a panel in the wall. Behind it were old security weapons, EMP grenades, and energy shields. Not much, but something. Zira looked at the gear, surprised. You have weapons, Jack nodded. Used to be a soldier. Before I fixed machines. Zira stared at him. Why did you stop fighting? Jack checked his gun. Because I saw too much death. I didn't want to be the one pulling the trigger anymore. Zira picked up a blade. I never had a choice. Outside, the red lights came closer. Jack and Zira moved through the outpost, setting traps, blocking doors, preparing for a fight. There was no time to run, no one to call. Just then, two broken warriors, one human, one alien, both hunted. Then boom. The front gate exploded inward. Smoke, sparks, screams in a language Jack didn't understand. But Zira did. She bared her teeth and whispered, They're here for blood. Jack raised his rifle. Let's give them something else instead. The battle had begun. The door was burning. Not just broken, burning. Like it had been eaten from the inside by fire. Red smoke rolled across the floor. Footsteps followed. Heavy. Slow. Metal boots crushed the dirt and glass beneath them. Zira stood, with her back against the wall, her claws ready, blood dripping from one shoulder. Her eyes didn't blink. Jack was beside her, holding a pulse rifle with both hands. He had never wanted to fight again, but now he had no choice. This wasn't just survival. This was war. The first alien stepped through the smoke, tall and armored, eyes glowing red. It wasn't looking at Jack. It was looking at Zira. The alien spoke in a deep, sharp voice. You will come with us or die. Zira stepped forward slowly. I choose neither. She leaped before the soldier could blink. Claws met metal. Sparks flew. Jack fired. The second soldier dropped, but more kept coming. The battle was fast and wild. Explosions rocked the outpost. Old metal walls cracked and fell. Smoke filled the rooms. Zira moved like a storm, jumping, striking, dodging. She fought with rage, but also something new, purpose. Jack stayed close, covering her back. He wasn't a perfect shot, but he was fast and smart. Together, they pushed the enemy out of the main building, but the cost was high. Jack's side was bleeding. A piece of shrapnel was stuck in him. He fell to one knee behind a broken table. Zira turned just in time to see him fall. She screamed, not in anger, in fear. She ran to him, slashing 2 more enemies as she passed. Jack tried to stand, but his legs failed. "Keep going," he whispered. "Don't stop for me." Zira dropped beside him. "I stop for no one," she said, "but I stay for you." He smiled weakly. "You sound human now." She held him close, then looked up. More soldiers were coming. She had only seconds. Zira dragged Jack into the supply room and sealed the door. His breathing was shallow. Blood covered his shirt. "No," she whispered, pressing her hands against the wound. "Not like this. You don't die. Not now." Jack coughed. "Zira, run. Please." But she didn't move. She remembered the cold days alone. The pain, the war, the betrayal. How every planet looked the same, dead. But not here. Not with him. And saw the alien. The device Jack had removed from her body, the tracker. It was still active inside the metal box. A new idea sparked in her mind. She took the device and crushed it under her claw. Then she looked at Jack one last time. "Stay alive, I'll bring peace, or I won't come back." And she left alone. Outside, Zira faced the last 5 hunters. Her body was shaking, wounded and tired. But her eyes burned with something new. Not hate, not rage, hope. "I am no one's tool," she said. "I am no one's slave." The leader raised his weapon. "You are property of the Skarn Empire." Zira stepped forward. "Then come and take me." She fought like fire, like a wild storm. Not for victory, for him, inside. The outpost, Jack watched through the cracked window, his vision blurry. He saw her fall once, get back up. Fall again. Rise again, and then silence. Jack blacked out. He woke up later, not in the outpost, in a clean white room. Medical machines beeped softly. His side was bandaged. Zira sat beside him, asleep in a chair, bruised but breathing. Jack whispered her name. "Zira." She opened her eyes slowly. "You made it," he said. She gave a weak smile. "So did you." Jack reached out and took her hand. For the first time, there were no weapons. No alarms, no pain, just peace. But far above in the stars, others were watching, and not everyone wanted peace. It was raining on the window. Soft, slow drops. Zira sat beside the bed, staring at them like she didn't know what rain was. Maybe she didn't. On her planet, water didn't fall from the sky, it boiled from the ground. But this sound was soft. So unlike war. So unlike her. Jack was asleep, breathing slow but steady. His wounds were healing, thanks to Zira's stolen alien tech. She had broken into one of the downed ships, pulled the med gel from a still smoking pod, and dragged it back to him with blood on her face and smoke in her lungs. Now she just sat. And listened. Once she would have never done that. She would have moved, attacked, prepared. But now she sat, because the one person who didn't fear her, didn't use her, didn't treat her like a weapon was sleeping in that bed. When Jack finally opened his eyes, his voice was rough. "Still here?" Zira looked at him, then gave a small nod. "You didn't leave me. I won't leave you." He smiled faintly. "You're different now." She blinked. "Different?" Jack looked at her. "You're not just claws and fire anymore." Zira tilted her head. "Then what am I?" He thought for a moment, then said, "You remind me of something." She waited. He pointed at the soft image on the wall screen. It was a picture from a children's book, a kitten. Zira stared, small, soft. Jack nodded, but still sharp. She looked away, almost shy. I don't know how to be soft. You're learning, Jack said. That's enough. Zira sat down on the edge of the bed. I wasn't made for this. Kindness, rest. I was built to fight. Jack looked at her closely. Then maybe it's time you build something else. They sat in silence for a while. Outside, the rain fell harder. Inside, the room stayed warm. Zy reached for a small tool on the desk. Jack watched her carefully. But instead of turning it into a weapon, she fixed a broken light panel with slow, gentle hands. Jack smiled. See? Not everything you touch needs to bleed. She looked at him. I don't want to bleed anymore. That night, she curled up on the chair beside him, blanket over her shoulders, claws tucked away. No armor. No sharp words. Just her. Zyra. The gentle kitten. But peace never lasts long. A sharp tone echoed in the room. Jack's eyes snapped open. Zira stood up instantly. A message was flashing on the outpost screen. Incoming transmission Earth command. Jack tapped the console. The message came through as text only. Subject Zyra is to be detained for questioning. Possible threat level. HEH. Extraction team inbound. Zyra read it, then looked at Jack. He already knew what she was going to say. I'll go, she whispered. If I run, they'll hurt you. Jack shook his head. You didn't do anything wrong. I existed, she said. That's enough for them. He stood, shaky but determined. Then I'll go with you. Zira looked at him. Her voice trembled for the first time. They won't care. They'll see a beast. They'll shoot before they speak. Jack walked over and took her hand. Then they'll have to shoot me too. Outside, the sky had cleared. No more rain. Just stars. But now instead of hiding from them, Zira looked up and dreamed. Maybe peace was possible. Maybe someone like her could be more than what she was built to be. Maybe she could choose who she wanted to become. And she chose to stay. The ship landed without a sound. No fire. No smoke, just quiet power. Its black hull shimmered under the morning sun like it didn't belong to this world. The Earth Command emblem was painted across the side, clear as a warning. We came for her, not to talk. To take. Zira stood in the field outside the outpost, hands at her sides. No weapons. No armor, just her and the wind. Jack limped beside her. Pain still in every step. But he didn't let go of her hand. The ramp opened. Soldiers in white armor marched out in perfect lines. Their faces were hidden behind helmets. Their weapons pointed down but not relaxed. Not really. From behind them, a woman in a dark uniform stepped forward. Her voice echoed through a speaker. Zira of the Fallen Empire. By order of Earth Command, you are to be taken into custody. Zira didn't move. Jack stepped forward. She's not your enemy. The officer didn't blink. She's not human. Jack pointed to the ground beneath their feet. Neither is the dirt we walk on. We come from the stars too. Doesn't mean we kill everything that looks different. She's dangerous, the officer replied coldly. She saved my life, Jack said. She destroyed our satellites. Jack nodded. She also stopped the ones who were coming to burn this place to ash. You know it. You saw the crash sites. The officer's silence confirmed it. Jack turned to Zyra. You don't have to run. Not anymore. But Zyra's eyes were full of shadows. I know how this ends, she whispered. They put me in chains. They call it protection. Then they never let me go. Jack stepped in front of her. You'll have to chain me too. The soldiers raised their weapons. Zyra's claws started to slip out, but she held herself back. Jack's voice was calm. You want war again? Right here? Against someone who hasn't hurt a soul since she got here? No one spoke. A single wind passed through the field. Then the officer lowered her hand. Stand down. The soldiers hesitated, then obeyed. She stepped closer, removing her helmet. Her face was sharp, tired, but human. I'm not blind, she said. I've read the scans, watched the footage. Your alien fought to protect a human. That's not something a weapon does. Jack held his breath. But, the officer continued, Earth Command won't forget what she is. If she stays, she'd be watched. Zira spoke then, quiet but clear. I don't want to be watched. I want to be free. The officer looked at her for a long time. Then she turned to Jack. You vouch for her? With my life, he said. Then. Her life is yours to protect, the officer replied. If she breaks that trust, it's on you. And just like that, the ship turned away. The soldiers marched back in, and the stars above remained silent. Zira stared at the empty sky. Jack looked at her. You okay? She didn't answer right away, then a tiny nod. I've never been free before, Jack smiled. First time for everything. She stepped forward, leaned her head gently against his shoulder. Not strong. Not sharp. Soft. Like the kitten he once showed her. A warrior turned survivor. A weapon turned protector. An alien turned something more. No longer feared. No longer hunted. Not quite human, but finally home.